The LA Chargers just got some really good news about the number 5 overall pick. We're going to break it all down. If you're new to the channel, yes, we're Detroit Lions fans, but we live here in Michigan. We're Michigan fans. We're following Jim Harbaugh out to LA, so you get an unbiased look into your team because this channel is all about the LA Chargers, and we know a lot about Jim Harbaugh. And excited to see what he does. Our main channel is called Sports Talk Detroit, but this channel we have loved doing it. So if you haven't subscribed and you've been watching a few videos of ours, please do that. If this is your first time, don't subscribe. Watch the video first and then decide. But we're trying to get 2,000 subs, kind of legitimize us. Like, yeah, these guys know what they're talking about. They're legit. So hit that subscribe button. We'd really appreciate that. So number 5 overall. So here's what's interesting is news has broken that the Falcons are going to release veteran tight end Janu Smith. He caught 50 passes, 500 yards, 3 touchdowns last season. At one point in his career, he signed a $50 million contract. He was a 3rd round pick overall for the Titans. Really solid tight end. Now, why does this matter and impact the 5th overall pick? Because the Bolts have been kind of projected to take Brock Bowers, number 5 overall. While I do believe Brock Bowers is legit and he would change your team and number 5 overall, cool, it does feel a little like, tight end at number 5. I don't love that. So I'll give you 2 options. Here's the first one. Janu Smith, veteran tight end. And it says it right here. While the Chargers are currently over the salary cap, they can make a few moves and they can get and create over $62 million in cap space. So we've made a big deal about it just because it is kind of a big deal. You're over the cap, but there's a lot they can do to get under there. Now, what is nice is that you can go get Janu Smith. He's older. He's a vet. And be the guy that kind of be that pass catching threat for you. And then you can draft in what would be the 6th round, AJ Barner, former Michigan tight end. He is ranked right now as like the 174th prospect, which would put him in that 5th or 6th round range. And I think that's exactly where he should go. And this is a sneaky guy that Jim Harbaugh knows. I say sneaky because didn't get a lot of playing time. And when he did, Michigan was just running the ball. So you couldn't really see his pass catching ability, but he is a really, really good run blocker. So you get AJ Barner in the 5th, 6th round as an example. There's other guys, but this is a perfect example. Get him in the 6th round. You sign Janu Smith. And so now you don't have to take Brock Bowers at pick number 5. It creates a couple different options for you. Now you can take Joe Alt, which anytime you take a tackle, like book it, done, right? It's not the most fun pick because you're up in the top 10. You want to do something fun. But we've seen it with the Lions. They took Penei Sewell, this complete franchise changer at the tackle position. So boom. Also, Malik Neighbors. So now all of a sudden, you use these resources on a guy that can really stretch the field, be a playmaker. Love that. Or you've got other guys as well. Or the best case scenario, and Craig broke this down on another video, was to trade out of number 5. So you don't feel like you need to stay there because it's like, yep, hey, Malik, love you, but we are going to go back. And the reason we're going to trade back is because we have Jim Harbaugh, been in college, knows what he has to do when it comes to evaluations, seen a lot of these players. Joe Hortiz has been around the Ravens who've drafted deep into the draft. They know they're comfortable there, right? So I think that's just a really good spot to be in, is if you can trade out of it. Let's go back to Janu Smith. He'd be a great signing for the Chargers. He may not be an elite tight end 1 and should not be the only additions the Chargers make the tight end room. Just what I was talking about. If they pass on Brock Bowers in the 1st round and draft a blocking tight end later in the draft, I just nailed that. Wow. I didn't even know this was on here. Honestly, I just kind of skimmed this article. Smith would help with the pass catching duties. And then the Michigan tight end that I talked about is a great blocking tight end. He's under the radar because he was on a loaded Michigan team. And that's where Jim Harbaugh knows. He knows those guys that were on the loaded team that just didn't get a lot of playing time. Nobody really knows about. There's like, dude, any other team in America, he would have been a stud or a star. Those are the types of guys that Harbaugh's going to get in the 5th, 6th, and 7th round. There are a lot of tight ends who can sign for cheap and can be a passing threat for Herbert. Hunter Henry is back on the market. Geez, that guy's got to be like 50 years old. Seems like he's always out there. Smith was a natural free agent, and the Chargers signed him to the same contract as Gerald Everett gets from another team. Then the two signings would cancel each other out, and the Bolts would not get a comp pick. Remember, Gerald Everett's probably walking. However, in this case, the Chargers can sign Smith to whatever contract they want and don't have to worry because he was waived by the Atlanta Falcons. Because remember, Joe Hortiz made it clear he loves comp picks. Comp picks are picks you get when your own free agent walks and you don't re-sign them and you have to lose them to somebody else. Depends on the money that they get. Perfect. So you still get the comp picks for Gerald Everett and you get your player. It's perfect. And you don't have to waste money or waste the resource. Waste is a strong word on a tight end. Here's the thing about a tight end. And the Lions, being a Lions fan, I would know this. We spent critical draft picks on tight ends for a few years. And it's just very difficult because they don't have the impact that you're going to get from a tackle, a defensive end, a corner, a wide receiver. They just don't. So they're constantly being just like scrutinized. They're constantly being called a bust. And it's like, no, they're not going to have the impact. They're very important though. Same thing. Lions take Sam Laporta in the second round, absolute star at the positions, change the offense, go-to player. So you have to be careful with the tight end position. And when you're a team that's above the cap already, you've got a ton of different holes. All teams do. You can fill tight end reasonably. And then down the line, if somebody else comes available, but it's hard to find a legit wide receiver like Neighbors. It's hard to trade back. If someone wants to trade where you don't feel like, man, we don't have a tight end, we have to stay here. We have to get Bowers. No, let's trade back. It gives us more flexibility. So remember, free agency is before the draft. Fill your holes a little bit, find out where you're at, but tight end, you could almost just be good. And I like that. I like in free agency to fill where in a couple positions, not just fill at surface level, but like we are set at tight end. We are set at corner. And most teams aren't going to be set in certain spots, but it would just be kind of nice. Then you go into the draft and you minimize all the things that you're looking for. So I know everyone wants to take best player available. I get that. I think they also say that a little too loosely. It's like, do you really? You're really just going to, you have nobody at corner and there's a really good corner, but there's one, center that's a little bit better. You're just going to take that center. It's like, no, they definitely want to fill their needs. So, and if they happen to be the best player, then there you go. But my point is it's just an example of you can really solidify one position and then you can move on to the next. So again, one more thing for you. Please subscribe if you haven't. And then also, man, I asked people to put in the comments places to eat in LA or San Diego, and it was just like filled. Appreciate that. Now I really want to go to San Diego. I've always wanted to go to San Diego. I just picked San Diego just because I don't know really the difference between San Diego and LA. Seem like they're close to each other. One's bigger, both nice weather. But San Diego feels just kind of like, man, I love it. I would love to learn how to surf. I feel like I could do it. I feel like I could jump up pretty reasonably. I don't know. I've never done it. Surf, Padres game, get a little seafood, tacos. That's what everyone was writing was tacos. And I'm like, tacos? Are you kidding me? I love tacos. Tacos and surfing. That's pretty much what I think my dream life would be. But again, never surfed. So I don't know. I could fall and break my leg and be like, I don't like that. So let me know your thoughts in the comments on this one, and we'll see all of you on the next one.